As we near the end of the last year of this decade, we must reflect upon all the time we spent doing what we loved, our achievements and our failures. And I have to say, the most fun I had this decade is when I was playing The Sims. I am completely infatuated with this game series. They are all my babies. But I am a mother who has favorites, and Sims 2 is my darling child. I always fall in this cycle of remembering how much I love The Sims, playing it for hours on end every day for a month or two, and neglecting all of my other responsibilities. Oversaturating myself on The Sims and forcing myself to stop playing, then forgetting about the game's entire existence for a few months, and then repeat. And this cycle has been repeating since I was 10 years old. And by the time I picked up The Sims 2, all the expansion packs and stuff packs had already released. And you best believe young Jacob would have done anything to have a copy of Sims 2 Seasons. Like any normal person, I played The Sims 2 on the family computer. And yes, it was awkward when my Sims woohooed because my family computer was in the kitchen. So most of my Sims would die never busting a nut. Anyway, since I only played The Sims on the computer, I was oblivious to all the Sims spin-offs that were available on consoles. So instead of spending quality time with my family, I spent that time playing every Sims spin-off I can get my hands on. For the last 3 weeks, I've searched local game stores and I have come by 9 Sims spin-offs to play. Now take in mind this ain't the complete collection of Sims spin-offs, just the ones I can realistically get my hands on physical copies of. So don't take offense if I don't play MySims Agents or whatever might be your favorite way to play The Sims. And I apologize in advance if that's the case. Today each game will be reviewed and given a simple letter score, and then be placed on a graph to show how far the game deviated from the main series. Going in chronological order, we start in the distant year of 2003, with the second Sims game to be offered for home consoles. The Sims Bustin Out is the first Sims game I've played that has goal-driven story mode gameplay. We see our main character going from location to location, completing personal goals and fixing the lives of the ones who inhabit the residence. All while you properly care for your Sim and make sure they have a stable income. It's also, to my understanding, there was once an online multiplayer where you can visit other players and chat with them too. Sadly, it was discontinued in 2008, which is a bummer. Besides that, this game is charmful, which Sims games usually are. Playing this sent me back to the early to mid 2000s and watching my cousins play the original Sims and slowly falling in love with the series. Especially hearing the male person's whistle, it just does something to me that makes me feel so warm and safe inside. Oh, and I should add, I'll be answering if you can woohoo in each game, and for busting out, I'm pretty sure you can, but for some reason no Sim wanted to be alone in the same room with my Sim. But he did do this to his mom though, so I'll be putting a maybe for woohooing.
She's like a horse.
Don't be disrespectful, my nigga's right here.
Who? Who the fuck is this nigga?
All in all, Sims Busting Out is a great experience. I love the balance between taking care of my Sim, completing tasks, and then unlocking new objects and social actions to use. The Sims Busting Out captures perfectly the overall feel of a Sims game, so I'll be keeping it pretty close to the main series on the graph, and I'll be giving Sims Busting Out a B+. Totally worth the $4.99. Aw man, Urbz. You were meant to be the next breakout series for EA, like how The Sims was a breakout series from SimCity. Sadly, the Urbz never made it out of the 6th generation of consoles. I can't believe they decided to release this game only 2 months after Sims 2 released. Talking about living the shadow of your older sibling. In the Urbz Sims in the City, we find our Urbz just arriving in SimCity, being welcomed by will.i.am of Black Eyed Peas fame and the most famous person in the city, Darius. We then shred a guitar, do a split, and proceed to get lectured by will.i.am about how his role in Madagascar 2 shaped the current entertainment landscape. Then he leaves, probably to do the same to any poor Urbz that should cross his path. We are now left alone to decorate our apartment, eat, and then the real gameplay begins. Similar to Busting Out, you complete goals in the area you start in, and then proceed to hop from a new location to complete goals there. However, in the Urbz, sometimes the things you're asked to do can be heinous. Are we becoming friends now? We're gonna do a fucking sick handshake. Mug? He wants me to mug people for him? A professor too, what the fuck? Here we are presented with the first of many adult predicaments we can experience, including but not limited to legal gambling, illegal gambling, regular assault, and sexual assault, I guess. We're gonna hug him. Oh. That's not a hug. That wasn't cool. I think our Sim just assaulted that guy. I don't want to play this anymore. Funnily enough, you can't woohoo in the Urbz, but would you want to do that with any of these characters? I think the Urbz design is so ugly and dated. They all look like as if they're gonna die of a terminal illness at any given second. As you can probably tell by my cadence, I ain't a huge fan of this game in relation to it as a Sims game. I feel as if the Urbz tries so hard to be this edgier version of a Sims game that forgets to be a Sims game. Caring for my Urbz needs is such an afterthought in this game. It's not something I enjoy doing as opposed to other games, where I love taking care of my Sims. It's almost more of a burden to make sure that my Sim is fed and entertained, all while I'm trying to build enough reputation to get to Skyline Beach so I can mug people for loot. Another thing I find odd is that for a game that has this bustling city life, you don't have a social motive. It doesn't seem like it'd be too difficult to assault someone every once in a while, since there are quite literally Urbz in every corner of SimCity. I feel Urbz falls flat in every aspect where it's supposed to be a Sims game, but exceeds in bringing a rough around the edge look and feel that I believe EA was intending to do, so props on that. It's just not my cup of tea. I'll place Urbz right smack in the middle of the graph, and I'll be giving the Urbz Sims in the City a C-. At least I got a free Black Eyed Peas music download. Our next spin-off takes us to PC with The Sims Life Stories. And let me say it now so no one is mistaken. The Sims Life Stories is the best spin-off in this list, and I implore you to play it if you're a fan of the Sims series. Plus, it's only worth a nickel if you can find it at a local game store, so there's really no reason not to play it. Unlike the last two games listed, there was no area hopping or reputation to maintain. Instead, here we lead our main character, Riley Harlow, through a dramatic story filled with love, cheating, kidnapping, and a dash of that sim quirkiness that you can't replicate in any other game. He rejected us the last time we tried to tickle him, so we need to make him like us. Wow, she told a gutbuster. Did you see how scared our sim looked? So this is the first time he's in our house, and he's taking a shit. Nice. That guy not flush the toilet? What's wrong with this guy? He's just walking around talking to people like that shit's okay? Fuck this guy. Besides the regular wants and fears that are a staple of Sims 2 and should be added in Sims 4, we are introduced to goals, which is basically the action you have to do to progress the story. It could be anything as simple as learning a new skill or a little more intricate, such as flirting with different Sims in front of your now ex-girlfriend. That absolute Chad you're feasting your eyes on is a Sim named Vincent. He is the main character of the side story featured in this game. It's about his plight of being a hopeless romantic millionaire, but the story didn't feel as relatable as Riley's for obvious reasons, so I didn't spend as much time with Vincent as I did with Riley. Taking in the fact this is basically just the base Sims 2 game with extra steps, I'm gonna set the Sims Life Stories right next to the main series, and I'll be giving the Sims Life Stories a solid A. EA, Maxis, please make more Sim Life Stories using the Sims 4 engine. I need it. Also, please add Fears and Wants to Sims 4. I need that too. I almost forgot to add that you can totally bone in this game. At one point, it's the only way to progress the story. Sad to say, I wasn't recording past that point in the game, but I did stumble upon some horrible, awful things on YouTube trying to find footage of it. I feel at peace too, Harm. Could stay like this forever, says Little Peep. I'm only this way with you. I'm not reading the rest of this. It's just too much. Then she's gonna get up, probably suck his...
What the fuck are you watching?
It's Sims porn. It's not bad if you want to join, actually. Alright. Just 7 months later, we find ourselves with a complete departure from everything we thought was considered a Sims game. MySims is not a life simulator at all. Instead, it's a cute Animal Crossing-esque game with almost no discernible features that would make it a Sims game, besides the little plumb bob and the fact that they speak Simlish. Here in this game, we are devoid of any needs such as eating or sleeping, and no, you cannot woohoo in this game, you sick fuck, this game is made for kids. In MySims, your overall goal is to bring a once prosperous town back from its unfortunate demise. The character you play as is one of the select few builders who can produce and design anything they desire, and it's up to you to help the town in any way you can. As new characters move into town, they'll request certain objects and items so they can get their lives back on track. And man, does this become tedious after the second sim. Every time you have to build something, you gotta run back to your workshop, create it, and then run all the way back to the area that needs help. It plays out its entertainment value pretty fast, but that's not to say I don't like this game. There's obviously a lot of love and caring that was put into this project, and for a Wii game, it looks great. And I mean, how cute are these chibi character designs? It's like really hard not to fall in love with this art direction. I think anyone whose age can be found on a clock would love this game, plus I doubt that I was the intended audience for this game anyway. I don't exactly consider this a sim game, so I'm gonna place it on this side of the graph and give it a big ol' C. It's pretty cute, come on. Alright, so the next game in chronological order is Sims 2 Castaway, but since I'm hot off the topic of MySims, I'm gonna speed through its sequels because they're nothing too special. The same exact storyline as MySims, except now you're not a builder but a wandalier that makes use of magic to solve problems and produce objects. And instead of the Sims coming to you, you sail to different islands to help them. The only up this game has on MySims is that you're not constricted to the workshop, and you can make furniture on the fly wherever you are. Somehow, it's less simmy than MySims, so it goes behind MySims on the graph, and it gets a C+, B-. I actually recommend this game, it's fun. Literally a Mario Party ripoff, even has the word party in the name, kind of obvious. You use characters from the previous 2 games. Also, I guess goth boys aren't allowed names, pretty sure that's prejudice. Nothing too special about it, it's not horrible. It's nowhere near a Sims game, I tell you that, so I'm gonna put it right here. I'll give it a D+. I guess we're not only ripping Mario Party off, but Mario Kart too. You turn like this, you get power-ups, and you race other Sims. There's this power-up that turns your screen upside down. It's kinda cool the first time it happens, but every time after that, it feels like what I imagined hell is like. It's not fun. I'm gonna put it with MySims Party on the graph and give it like a F+, D-. Yeah. Before I start talking about this game, I want to say that I played it on the Wii, so that may play a factor about how the game is perceived, or how tedious the game felt since I had to do this the whole time. With that out of the way, we are brought to the final Sims spin-off game released on consoles for the time being, The Sims 2 Castaway, and I can't say I'm a fan. Here we see our character, or characters, shipwrecked on an island, and the goal is to live long enough to get back home. All while you progress from island to island looking for resources, all in the name of thriving in nature. You know, doing the basic survival stuff like harvesting fruits, collecting supplies, spearing fish, and finding a safe place to sleep every night. Also, there's no woohooing.
Because it's a sin to woohoo before marriage.
Our God is an awesome God, He reigns from heaven above.
One huge plus I'll give this game is how flawlessly they brought over the Sims motive meters from the main series. I was never confused about what my Sim needed, but at the end I found it all to be monotonous after like an hour of gameplay. I think it just comes down to personal taste. I was never a fan of games like The Forest, or any game where the goal is survival. I find it a little dull, and that's just my personal taste. You know. What can you do about it? And since I'm also playing on the Wii, my character looks like 20 pixels max when I zoom out. This game is no masterpiece, and there are way better exploring and survival games to be played. I'm gonna put it right smack in the middle of the graph and give the game a solid C. It could have been better. Wait. Last on our list is The Sims Medieval, releasing in 2011. As the title suggests, it's The Sims set in medieval times. The player is referred to as the Watcher, a benevolent and sometimes loving god who employs certain Sims, referred to as heroes, to do their bidding. In this game, you're creating a kingdom by completing certain quests given to certain characters, like a priest, bard, or king and queen, among many others. All while making sure your Sims' hunger and energy motives are filled. Because those are the only motives. It's kind of like living alone. I didn't expect much going into this game, given I just got done playing these 4 less than stellar pieces of art, but I was pleasantly surprised with how much fun I had playing this game. I loved seeing all the social options turn medieval and seeing the color customization from Sims 3 brought over to this game. You can also disregard the quest and marry and raise a family, which means you can woohoo. I had a lot of fun playing as my evil priest, yelling at kids and scaring people into my religion. However, I have the same gripe with this game that I had with The Sims 3, where there is a lot of freedoms, but when it comes to that real exciting shit, there's no show, only tell. Like when you choose to hunt for bears, you walk into the forest for a few hours and then just walk back out. There's nothing too riveting about that gameplay, but that's the only true negative that comes to mind. Overall, I enjoyed this game, and I'll be playing it more for the days to come. I'll leave it before the Urbz on the graph, and I'll give it a solid B. It's been 8 years since another proper Sims spin-off, and I have to say it makes me sad. It seems that if it's not the main game series, then the time and energy is going to the Sims mobile games, which suck. They're bland and uninspired and boring, and they suck. It's a shame because I think Sims 4 gameplay and engine would be perfect for an Urbz setting or another Life Stories, or maybe another MySims on the Switch. I honestly don't see another Sims game coming out anytime soon, let alone another Sims spin-off. But luckily we have almost 20 years of content to play through. I didn't even scratch the surface in this video. So here's to another 20 years of The Sims. Bye. I love you.